What's up guys, welcome back to a brand new YouTube video. Today I'm going to be taking you through a full leg workout. In this video, I'll be doing squats, good mornings, walking lunges, and leg extensions. For this workout, we're doing high bar squats with elevated heels. Today we're just building up to one heavy single, so I'm just starting with the bar, warming up, and doing about 10 reps. Before even hitting my first squat, I always make sure I warm up about 10 to 15 minutes, especially before a leg day. The mindset that I carry with that is that your first squat of the day should never be on the platform under the bar. You should always be doing those kinds of movements before you're actually working with weight. Jumping into my first working set, pretty light, just 75 pounds for 10 reps here. I have a pretty close stance on these just for extra range of motion, and I have definitely put a lot of work into my hip mobility to be able to do that. As always, I'm just focusing on bracing and keeping everything tight while I'm building up in my weight. Bracing is something that I wanted to touch on in this video. I'm just going to give my personal tips that have helped me learn how to brace as best as I can over my years of squatting. One of the most common cues that I've heard as a lifter is to just always take a deep breath in. But that can be pretty vague because most of the time you're thinking a deep breath into your chest, but to brace for a lift like this, you actually want to take a deep breath into your stomach. You do want to take this breath in just before you go down. As you can see, in between my reps, I do take an extra split second just to make sure that I brace before I go down. If you've been getting into squatting, but you're having a hard time feeling it when you brace, even just using a belt can also be very helpful. I typically don't start using my belt until I get into a little bit heavier of weight. As you can see, for these sets, I'm not using it just because I'm focusing on bracing without it. But when I do put on my belt, it does help a ton, and then you can really feel when you're breathing into your stomach and getting tight, everything just kind of comes together a little bit better. Another one of my tips for bracing is to focus on bringing your rib cage down towards your pelvis. You even just practice this with no weight, even just standing there, just first bringing your rib cage down towards your pelvis and then taking a little sip of air into your stomach, you'll feel how much sturdier it is. You want to focus on maintaining that tightness with each rep. It can be pretty exhausting, and it does feel like a lot of cardio because of all the intentional breathing you're having to do, but it is something you will get used to, and also just taking the split seconds at the top just to reset can be really helpful as well. As you can see, all of my building up sets have been sets of 5. This set here is 135 for 5 reps, and I'm just practicing everything that I've been saying in terms of my bracing. Next set is going to be 145 for another 5 reps. Before even unracking the weight, I still take that deep breath into my stomach just to have a clean walkout. Having a solid walkout is also a very, very important thing when it comes to squatting. You don't want to be taking a whole bunch of steps back and taking your time. You really just want 2 to 3 clean steps back. The way that I have always tried to go about it is having 2 clean steps back and then just sliding my feet however I need to, just in case I don't end up completely even on the first time. Putting this all together, I will get the weight on my back, I'll take a small deep breath in, and then I will unrack. I will take 2 steps back, and then I will brace again before going down. And after all of that volume building up, my top set is just going to be 165 for 1 rep. So I'm just going to focus on applying everything that I've been talking about just to make sure I have the cleanest and easiest rep I possibly can. And that was it for squats, just an easy single after a lot of volume and jumping into my next workout of the day, which is good mornings. I remember I used to feel a little bit intimidated when doing good mornings just because they felt like a little bit of a complicated workout, but they're actually pretty simple, so I'm just going to give you a couple of my form cues. For your feet positioning, you want to stand shoulder width apart and keep your toes facing forward. And in terms of your knees, you want to keep a slight bend in your knees, but you don't want to lock them out. The less bend that you have in your knees when doing this, the more you will feel it in your hamstrings and glutes. You also want to focus on bracing, just like how I talked about with squats, and you want to maintain a flat back the whole time. After finishing good mornings, I'm just jumping straight into the next workout, which is walking lunges, and I'm using a 40-pound weighted vest for these. Overall, walking lunges are a pretty straightforward exercise, but some things you would want to think about is keeping a tall chest. You don't want to be hunching over or anything. Also want to make sure you're getting a full range of motion. You don't want to just slam your knee on the ground, but you want to go as far down as possible while keeping it controlled. Jumping into the last workout is leg extensions. Since I am hitting this workout at home, certain things are limited, so this is the only bench that I have, but it still works very well, if not better, because I can actually lay all the way back, getting a very large range of motion. And for these, you want to always focus on going all the way up, feeling the squeeze at the top, and having a controlled eccentric. And you want to keep a steady tempo. You don't want to just be going up and down as fast as you can. You want to keep these controlled. But the slower you go, the more time under tension you get, so the more the muscle is actually being worked. As you can see, I did try a different angle with the bench. I tried to elevate it just a little bit more. I was kind of playing around with different things. If you made it this far into my video, thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to keep making workout videos just like this one, and I hope that you learned something from this that you can apply into your next workout.